America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And are not afraid to say it.
And are not afraid to say it. That's one of y'all?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, you scared me. I'm like, I turned it off. And are not afraid to say it.
No,
welcome.
Facebook played it. Interesting.
Huh?
So they played the
Welcome. You're tuned into Black Westchester Presents, the People Before Politics radio show every Sunday, 6 to 8 on InTheMixRadio.com. I am your host, AJ Woodson, black by popular demand, Damon K. Jones, and the lovely Lorraine Lopez in the place.
Yes.
And we are going to be blessed with this Black Westchester, I could say the HNIC, the head black Democrat in the state of New York, Senator Andrea Stewart-Cousins, will be back on the show, blessing her with her presence. But before we get there, yesterday yesterday history was made.
I watched it live.
There was the first annual Westchester Black Political Conference. Never taken place before.
The name itself sounds powerful.
Right. Never taken place before. It was definitely well attended. It was standing room only. You had people from all the organizations throughout Westchester in attendance. Indivisible New Rochelle, Indivisible Westchester, the NAACP from New Rochelle, Mount Vernon, Yonkers, Spring Valley, Nyack, Peekskill.
Nice.
And several. I think there's 2 or 3 more. I'm forgetting. You had the Urban League of Westchester. You had the League of Women Voters. You had Westchester Corrections Association.
Wow.
You had the Westchester Rockland Guardian Association. I know I'm forgetting somebody. There were members of all those organizations there, and then we were blessed by a keynote speaker, Dr. Lenora Falani, the first woman and first African American to appear as a presidential candidate on the ballot in all 50 states.
In the general election.
Yeah, she is Black history herself. You understand what I'm saying? This whole event was history. It was definitely Black history, Black Westchester history. It was
Standing room
only. It was great. It was well attended, and we had the minister, Dr. Hafiz Muhammad, the Eastern representative of Farrakhan for Eastern representative for Farrakhan for the Nation of Islam. He spoke, and he's powerful. New York City Councilman, how do you pronounce his name? Jumani Williams. You had Mount Vernon Councilman Andre Wallace. We had former Yonkers Councilman and now County Legislator Christopher Johnson. You had Minister Jazz.
County Legislator David Tubiolo.
Oh, yes, he was in the House, but I'm naming the panelists now.
Oh.
You had Dr. David Holder. And I must, and it's Sunday, so I must pause right there. I always say that there's not enough Black preachers that will come out and say what need to be said. And I was definitely pleasantly surprised by what came out of his mouth. And I'm looking forward to working with him for a little more. He's from New Rochelle. I can't think of the name of his church offhand, but definitely outspoken, and definitely, it was a little refreshing. Who else? You had Lena Anderson, president of the Greenberg White Plains NAACP, and they was in the house. You had Soraya Sampson, is that her name?
Urban League.
Founder and CEO of the Urban League of Westchester. And I forget any other panelists. That was all of them, right? That's about all of them. But they all did their thing, and Damon K. Jones and Kenneth Chamberlain moderated the two panels. Tasha Young, that's been on the show a few times, she was the moderator, and she was definitely making sure Damon and them kept to their time. She was cracking that whip, making sure everybody, kept to their time. It was well attended, and I'm proud to have been a part of it. Sometimes you watch, that was definitely history in the making. And one of the things Tasha said, this is not just, it's time for us to stop meeting just to meet. You understand what I'm saying? This is a call of action. And I hope that got through. While all the representatives that were there from all the different organizations, from all the different municipalities of Westchester and Rockland, and representation from New York City, I hope they all go back to their organizations and talk about what was spoken there and carry on the message. You understand what I'm saying? So like what was supposed to be the theme of the Million Man March, everybody was supposed to go back to their place and take back the message. I hope that is what happens, but this is definitely not the last. This is definitely not just one to have one. This is definitely the beginning. David, any last words on that? Anything you want to say?
Yeah, I think first of all, I want to thank everybody. I want to thank Tasha, Kenneth, Dr. Bob. I want to thank all the panelists.
Dr. Bob, that was the other panelist. I forgot. Sorry,
Oh,
Dr.
Bob.
who can't make it today. He's resting. He got to get ready for. He's teaching extra classes this semester, so he got to be ready for school until he got papers to grade and stuff.
He said he just wrote there was over 1,000 viewers that watched it live on Facebook yesterday.
About 1434 live.
Last count.
And now, no, that was live. And the last count with people watching it afterwards was going towards almost 1,600. I'm looking for it on my page so I can find it. But go ahead, Damon.
Yeah. So we want to thank everybody, man. I mean, it was humbling. It was an overwhelming process, and it was humbling. And big shout out to Tasha, man, for bringing the energy, and the dedication to make that happen. I think it's a beautiful start. I think it's a beautiful start to create a conversation and to create a vehicle that will actually address the issues in the black community. And there's nothing wrong with addressing issues for black people. We have the same problems as poor white, but it's looked at differently for some reason. I mean, the great Adam Clayton Powell said that if white people will recognize that poor black people issues and working to lift up poor black people, they lift up their own poor white people. And it's not, a black and white thing, but it has been made a black and white thing through the rhetoric of certain parties and through the rhetoric of people who want a divide. They want to divide. They want to see poor whites and poor blacks divided. And they want to deliver a message that is very, very race-based to keep people, separate. And people need to understand, everybody's playing that little clip of Dave Chappelle when he says he's on the voting line and these poor white people are saying Trump's for me, and he's like, no, Trump's for me. I'm rich. Trump ain't for you.
For me,
Trump's for me. I'm rich.
Shout to Barry McGooey, who's tuned in.
Hey,
who invited us. Even though I couldn't make it, he invited us to the breakfast.
Yes, thank you, Barry. So we have to, we have to get on. We have to get on point. And I challenge everybody to go on Westchester BPC.org. Go to issues and click on the link of the 1992 Advisory Board report to then County Exec Andrew O'Rourke, and look at the issues and what they found, the solutions, and you will see that in 2018 those solutions can be used today in the black community.
That's
you
a,
know,
that's a damn shame.
So, you know, we have to continue to have honest conversation and continue to educate people. And big shout out to Dr. Lenore Fulani.
Absolutely.
You know, I love her to death. She is like a big sister, a mother, you know, and I'm blessed to have someone that has been in the game so long, you know, that I could call and she will make time to come up and address a crowd.
And it was great to see Tasha get to introduce her hero,
yes,
her mentor.
Absolutely.
Like it was, you could see could see the passion when she was doing it. I mean, Dr. Fulani loved it. She walked up and gave her a hug. She said, "Whoa, thank you for that great introduction."
Yeah.
You know, it's great when you get to introduce your mentor and
someone that's inspired you.
Right, right.
You know, and it's a blessing to be able to do it, and it's a blessing to you know, be around, you know, those type of people, and you know, I'm humbled by it, you know. So, you know, I mean, it's something that we need to talk about. You know, it's something we need to move forward, and I thank the people that actually joined the organization yesterday, and we'll have more of the information up on the website, so more people can actually join.
A lot of people joined.
Yeah, a good number of people joined. Wrote checks right then and there. I wasn't expecting that, you know, but it's a beautiful thing, you know, that people feel that there's need. Want to shout out to Lyndon Williams, County Legislator Lyndon Williams. I don't know if he shouted out County Legislator Chris Johnson, because Johnson came the last minute. You know, Councilman Jared Rice had to cancel, but Chris Johnson, the last minute, came and substitute.
He stepped up.
And stepped up, and you know, and I can't forget big shout out to County Legislator Alfreda Williams, who was there. And I saw her today at the Dems breakfast, and she said again that she enjoyed herself. You know, and she thanked me for it, and she also said we need to move on the housing issue in Westchester County. That is something that, you know, is very important. You know, so hopefully, you know, we'll talk to her in the future, and we'll be able to mobilize the people around the housing issue here in Westchester County.
Yes.
Here we go.
Let me read a couple of quick shout outs while she's setting up. People tuning in right now. We have Max Maxwell, of course. Good evening, fam. Dr. Bob, Omi.
Carmen Goldberg is on.
Okay.
A big shout out to her.
Ken Bright, Barry Magui, he said, love you guys. Javon Boxhill, I'm sorry, it's Javon. Bishop M. Long. Tasha said, Damon Trump is for me. I'm rich. Oh, he's Dave Chappelle. Bob Baskerville said, and the organizers did a fabulous job of laying the groundwork for building a permanent vehicle to take on some of the electoral challenges we face today. Tasha said, thank you. Kenneth Chamberlain just tuned in. D. Wilson said, good evening, A.J. Woodson, Damon K. Jones, and Lorraine Lopez, and said, is that Miss Cousins in the house? Yes. I was
She got spotted real quick.
I was giving her a chance to set up. We welcome back to the show.
Yes.
The highest African-American Democrat, am I saying that right? In the state of New York.
Yeah.
That's right.
Senator Andrea Stewart-Cousins.
Yes.
You know, of course,
take that though because Speaker Carl Hastings.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
So
in the Senate, then.
in the
right?
Senate.
In the
Female.
Senate, in the Senate.
Female and in the Senate.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
But
Carl, we apologize.
That's right. That's right. Because he made great history there as well as becoming the Speaker of the Assembly. So
and for anybody who has the February Black History Edition of Black Westchester, and they turn to page 6, they will see Senator Andrea Stewart-Cousins, first woman in New York State to lead a conference in Albany.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Open
So
to that
let me
page.
take a look.
Yeah.
I'm very, I'm just really happy to be here, and I'm also happy that there is a newspaper, radio, and so on, because the black press is so important.
Yes.
And as the voices get more and more diminished, as we keep getting our information from maybe just a couple of sources.
Right.
And the fact is that, communities of color are never really,
Right.
covered
Right.
in any case.
At all.
So that, it is just really imperative that we take on, making sure our stories are told, the news is told, and that we really commit to and support the black press, and that's why I'm happy to be here.
Thank you.
And I'd like to thank you for your support.
Sure.
When we took the bold move to go print in August.
It's a big deal. Yeah.
A lot of politicians were running, so they all ran ads for their campaign.
Sure.
But Senator Cousins, even though she wasn't running for anything, took out a big ad.
Yes.
And bigged us up about
That's
the importance of us in black press and what we were doing, and then took out an ad in this month's paper
That's right.
for Black History.
That's
and we
right.
definitely appreciate that, the support.
Thank you.
Especially when we don't get it sometimes from some of the Democrats on the local level, but we won't. That's another story. That's another story. But we definitely
We
appreciate
had to
that.
throw that in there.
I mean, let's keep it real, what I'm saying. So, because it's the support of all of y'all that take out ads, and we're allowed to give the paper out. It allows us to give the paper out free.
For free.
That's
And
That's
when
right.
you're giving out information to people, if we were to charge just even 50 cents or $1,
Yeah.
the people who need the information the most, they would never get it.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying? So
Exactly right.
it has to be free so the people can get it, and
Right. Well, I mean, it's like the county press too, and I'll give
Right.
out a shout out to the
Yes.
county.
and
Yes,
we,
of
stand, we
course.
stand on it. We stand on the back of the
Yeah.
shoulders of them.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Which again is I mean, some of us have paid subscriptions, and
Right.
certainly I'm proud to have a paid subscription, but the majority are in places,
Right.
churches,
Right.
and places where
We follow
where
their model.
community- Right.
We
exactly.
drop in the churches. We follow their model.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. It's very, very important, because otherwise, again, the story isn't told, and people don't know what is going on, and they don't know how what is or isn't going on really impacts their lives.
Right.
And
Right.
of course, now everybody's kind of woke. We
Right.
hope, especially after this
Election.
election.
That's right.
Like you said, we hope. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I know there's a lot of people saying stay woke and they still sleep. So,
Well,
yeah.
I know, but there's I'll say there's more woke
Woke people, yes.
than there were before.
Yes.
Yes.
Because people just assumed everything was just.
Well, he
gonna-
definitely ripped down the veil. And
Yeah. So now we know that government. Oh, what does it matter to me? Sometimes we have a very myopic view of government. If it doesn't answer what you want done at the moment you want it done, then it doesn't matter to me.
Right.
And people don't understand that housing, healthcare, education, that being able again to deduct your taxes.
Right.
That's right.
You
That's
know,
right.
everything that we do is influenced and impacted by the people who are quote unquote governing us.
Right.
And so even if you had the luxury of believing none of it mattered before this last national election, I think as you see this kind of impact, whether you can sign up for a DACA, for a government
Right,
program that
right.
says you will be able to stay
Right.
as long as you adhere to these things, and then how government changes and can rip that
That's right.
right out from under you.
And it's happening.
Now,
Yep.
now,
And it's happening, and it's happening. Even the Affordable Care Act.
yes.
I mean, people think in a place like New York, that we were actually able to set up the exchanges through
Right.
legislation, but we weren't because the Republicans in the Senate didn't want to have that legislation, so the governor did it with an executive order.
So then when he's not governor, it goes away.
It can go away in the
Right.
same way that you can see Donald Trump
That's
just
right.
kind of dismantling the executive orders
That's
of,
right.
of
Obama.
Of Obama.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
But
You
he
know.
said Obama never did anything.
Well, that's
Well,
right.
I mean, by the
That's
time-
right.
And meanwhile, he's so busy. Oh God.
Well, the
I
point
mean,
is
it's
that,
mistake.
by the time, in his mind, by the time he gets through, everything
He will be-
that
he will-
President Obama did or stood for will be in some way dismantled, which is, it's really so difficult to watch. But also, again, it underscores why you need legislation, you need stuff in law, and President Obama. This is Black History Month again, and President Obama, I think, certainly is the first African American president. Not only, broke a barrier that had been, the barrier of this country, but it gave hope to so
Yes.
many
Absolutely,
people.
absolutely.
Everybody with your kids and my kids could actually, after his election, say, well, maybe that could be me.
That's
And-
right.
Or
That's right.
or all the things that aren't that
Right.
could happen in my
Right.
life, and
That's
that's
right.
that's I think
That's
what
right.
the whole dream of America is.
Absolutely.
That you can make something happen.
Absolutely.
As long as people like me, like people in government, remove barriers
Right.
to people being able to get to things, education, opportunity. So as long as you remove barriers, President Obama gave the hope that this was attainable and achievable.
Absolutely. Now, I want to. One of the things when I was writing the story that you have in front of you, my original title was "The First African American Woman to Become Majority Leader," and then I had to pull back on that because I couldn't get the research to back that
right.
up.
That's
So
right.
a lot of people are not sure what actually happened and is happening.
Right.
So
Okay, so
explain
let
that.
me explain that to you.
And make sure you pull the mic just a little closer.
Yes,
So,
okay.
No, you can pull it to you. So you know how you can get comfortable.
I can do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be too relaxed. I have a time frame.
Last time she was supposed to stay 20, 30 minutes.
I know,
She took
I
over the whole
know.
time.
I know.
She took off her shoes and got
I
real
know,
comfortable.
and I was having such a great time because
No, you got Simmer's time in you.
Yeah,
Simmer's time in
okay.
you.
Simmer got you on a
She's
timer
good.
this time.
Yes, okay, good.
Hello,
Thank you.
Simmer.
No, I'm going up to Albany tonight too, and I have to do
Well,
a bunch
thank
of
you
stuff
for
before.
taking the time to
so
stop
I
by.
wanted
Yes,
to.
yes.
But yeah, so the story is that I am the leader of the Democrats in the Senate. However, right now we don't have a numerical majority because of the George Latimer seat that
Okay.
he left,
Right.
Right.
as well as Senator Diaz left to become a city council person. So I'm down 2 Democratic seats.
Okay.
That's why the election for George's replacement
It's very important.
is very, very important because, again, we will have 32 Democrats serving in the chamber. We had 32 Democrats back in 2009 when we took the majority. The Democrats took the majority for the first time in decades. I mean, you have to understand that the Senate has been dominated by Republicans for, over 100 years.
Okay.
So there was one time during the Johnson landslide in the 60s that Democrats kind of got swept in power, and they were so unprepared for that.
They
got
swept
swept
right
out.
out.
They couldn't figure out who the leader was going to be. Apparently Governor Rockefeller had to help them pick a leader. But a guy from Yonkers here, Roy Lenseth, was the Democrat, the only Democrat who served.
Wow.
He's
Wow.
deceased. He was an attorney. He lived right in the neighborhood where, this neighborhood. And he got swept in. He didn't have a sign. He didn't have a poster, so he was
Wow.
elected. So they got swept out. And then nothing happened for Democrats until 2009. when we again achieved the majority. And during that time also came and this was when President Obama was elected. So
Right.
a lot of we were there for 2 years. We were able to do things like reform the Rockefeller drug laws and create more transparency. We stopped allowing folks to count prisoners because what happens,
And the census.
right? The census, they would the census would be counted, and then the people who are in the upstate prisons,
Right.
who basically come from 7 zip codes, so
Right.
7 communities,
Right.
also in New York City and a little above, would be counted there.
That's right.
And then the
not in the
communities
not in the
would not
community,
get
right.
the resources, and of
Right.
course people
Right.
go back to these communities and they're
That's
not,
right.
and so
Oh, wow.
we changed that.
Mhm.
So saying that no, you cannot, you have to report those people in the communities from
Where
whence
they're
they came.
from.
So we were able to do a lot of things, but we were also there in the recession and bad things happened, and so we got swept out in the midterms. So in 2010, there was a group of independent Democrats led by Jeff Klein. He decided after we had lost the majority that he didn't want to be with Democrats, the traditional Democrats. And so he formed independent Democrats. And they were supposed to be this group of people. There were 5 of them at the time. They were supposed to be this group of people who, if the Democrats had a good idea, they would vote with Democrats. If the Republicans had a good idea, they would vote with Republicans, but they were going to be independent. In 2012, we won the majority back. And it was at that time that the Republicans and the independent Democrats made a deal to make sure that the Democrats would not be in the majority. They formalized a deal that says that we are going to work with you, we are going to share the resources with you, we're going to share the governing with you. That was before the time that Okay.
That's the sound effect, man.
It's like, wait a minute, that requires something.
Yeah, that's the Jeff Klein and the IDC.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And they set up this deal. So I wasn't the leader at the time, and one of the things that he said initially is like, well, I can't work John Sampson, an African American guy who's since not in the Senate anymore, but he was saying that I can't work with him. So anyway, we have new leadership. I'm the leader. I've been the leader now since 2013, and so we'll come back, but. What's happened now is it's gone on for
Now it's like
a
8
long
of them
time.
now, right?
There's 8 of them because the newest one that
You're kidding.
Yes,
the woman that replaced Adriano, she went directly to the IDC, and there was one. Well, you see, the thing is that they get more resources. You get more resources when you're in the majority. You get more opportunity to sit at the table. But the other things that happen is the things that we continue to push, whether it's election reform, early voting, voting registration, on-the-spot registration, if we're talking about criminal justice reform, if we're talking about, bless you, if we're talking about the things that we are trying to get done, women's reproductive health, you name it, and because they are partnered with Republicans, the agreement is that if you like it, but you don't like it, and we're partners, we won't do it. So you could say, oh, I want to do this, but if you say you don't, then it doesn't happen.
So they're basically falsifying what they represent to their districts.
Well, they
You
come in as
understand?
Democrats,
Right.
and they work with
And
the
they only-
Republicans
Right.
and exclude the Democrats. So even when we get a majority of Democrats in, because this group of people works with Republicans, we can't govern as the majority.
Wow.
And so that's why I don't say I'm the minority leader, because I actually have many more members than they do. So if you look at it, a minority conference, the independent Democrats are the minority.
Right.
Okay. However, because we are not able to govern as the majority, I can't say I'm in the majority either. But I will just say that the governor at the end of last year decided that this shouldn't go on. And so
I read
he
about that,
put, the state party put out something and asked for me to see if I would accept it on behalf of my conference, and whether Jeff would accept it as on behalf of his conference. And what the terms of the agreement basically came down to is that after the special election, because right now we're technically not in the majority in Democrats because I have these 2 empty seats, but after the special election is set and we win, that we will once again have a majority of Democrats in the chamber. And this is also contingent. There's one guy, Simca Felder, who represents Brooklyn. He runs, though, on the Republican line and on the Democratic line. and when
That's kind of like the guy you took out. I'm just
he didn't run on both lines. But this guy actually got elected on both lines. So when he came in, he didn't go to the IDC. He went directly to the Republicans. He's always made it clear that he's going to work with the group that's, has the power
that's in power
to help him. So the idea, since he is also a Democrat, is that after the special election on April 24th, the Democrats will come back together and form the majority and actually lead as the majority.
And that's the agreement.
That is the agreement, that after the election, when we win, we come back together. And then should we come back together, then there won't be any cross-firing at each other. And we will, now Jeff and I would co-lead. So it would still be this, because he doesn't want to give up his independent Democrats. And, the reality is it's not about, it just really isn't about us individually. It is about us being able to do the kinds of things that we've been trying to do.
But you'll be under one umbrella?
We will be under one umbrella, co-leader. So in other words, the same deal that he has pretty much with the Republicans, he will have with the Democrats. And as far as I've always said, the fact that you say you're in agreement with all these things that we're in agreement with, then why wouldn't you have a deal with me? Why would you have a deal with people who don't believe what you believe? I mean, when we were fighting for raise the age and all the kinds of things, you're starting from a place, whether it's minimum wage, with people who are not interested in doing that. And I'm not saying they just have a different view of things, right? So everybody's trying to do the right thing.
Hold on, Jesse Hamilton went to the IDC? You gotta be kidding me.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
What you gotta say about that, Damon?
So,
Look at his face.
Oh, okay. No. I don't tell what I'm about to do on the radio.
That's
At least not yet.
What I want to ask you, so
I
know for George Latimer's seat, I know we have Shelley Myers
Mayer.
running.
That's
Mayer's
right.
running.
That's
now,
right.
with the other person you named, Diet was.
okay.
Julia.
In the Bronx.
Yes. Okay, that's the Bronx. Okay.
Okay. Yes. So in Westchester, the only race that is a Westchester race is the one replacing George Latimer, and the Democrat candidate is Shelley Mayer.
Okay,
and
then
she's
the other
excellent.
one.
She's been in the assembly.
Right.
She was
She's
here
really
last
very
week.
good.
Yes.
Yeah,
she's
she's
there.
very good.
Now, and the second race is.
The second race is in the Bronx,
Okay.
replacing Senator Ruben Diaz, who's now in
Okay.
the city council. Their candidate is Luis Sepulveda.
Okay.
And he's also fine, and he's coming to the Main Street Democrats, so he's joining my conference. I mean, the good news is that, again, before the Trump win, people were really not paying much attention because this has gone on for 7 years. But after that, they started focusing on what's going on in the states. And when they looked at the states and they realized how much work Republicans had done, because when you're in the majority, you control redistricting every 10 years.
That's right.
You draw those congressional lines. You draw the local lines. When I first ran for Senate in 2004, I had a district that was Yonkers, Greenberg, and Mount Pleasant.
Right.
It looked like a rectangle.
That's right.
When we lost the majority in 2010, they redrew the lines. Susie Oppenheimer, who was a Democrat, retired, and they decided that maybe they could get her seat if they just changed it a little bit. So when I ran, there were 62 senators, and when they did that redistricting, they made a 63rd seat. Everybody else was cutting back on government. They added a seat because they wanted to cut the lines just so. Every Democrat represents about 315,000 people. The Republicans represent around 285,000 because they cut the lines just so. And my district, which used to, as they said, look like a rectangle, and I had one big city, which was the city of Yonkers, was gerrymandered so that now I have 3 cities. I have half of Yonkers, 3/4 of White Plains, and half of New Rochelle. And the other half, again, was the Latimer seat, and when Shelley wins, it'll be her seat. So I have 3 big cities, and then I still have Greenberg and all the Riverton, and I also have Scarsdale.
Right.
And so now my district, which was a rectangle, looks like the smiling profile of an old man with a scraggly beard. And I call him Yaskar White Rock Green.
Amazing.
So, as someone who served for a decade, I believe, on the Westchester County Legislature, how do you feel about now the Democrats finally? Because I think in my research, there's only been a Democratic county exec once or twice in the last since the 40s or the 50s or something like that.
It's been
you know what I'm saying? And we're supposed to be the majority out here. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we weren't back then.
Yeah.
You know, when I ran for the county legislature, there were 11 Republicans and 6 Democrats, as well as a Republican county executive.
Right.
And so that was back in 1995. I began serving, I believe, in 1996. And so Westchester had been a Republican county, and that was what it was. The interesting thing is that when I left in 2006, just 10 years later, there were 11 Democrats and 6 Republicans.
Wow.
So it was totally flipped. And also we had the county executive who was a Democrat, Andrew Spano. And then we lost it, it flipped back. But now, as you can see, the board is now 12 Democrats, and they've managed obviously with George Latimer too. And I think it's important to say, because again, I know that our audience is pretty astute, and they understand that politics and government are not one and the same. The thing is, if you do good government, you're doing good politics.
Right.
And I also have to say,
good quote. I like that.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, I like that.
You know, you do good government, you do good politics, right? Because and I've been able to walk across the aisle and to work across the aisle. But I also do know that there is an ideological difference. There's a reason why I'm a Democrat and somebody else is a Republican. We're seeing less and less of that playing out on a national level, because they used to be the ones who were supposed to be so fiscally conservative, and we were interested in it. And now basically what they're doing up there is just creating more and more debt for our children and our children's children.
Right.
These are things that they would never have done before they said, but they were just more interested in the well-being of it seemed to me, the business, corporate America, assuming that if businesses do well, then they'll hire us and they'll hire people to trickle down.
It doesn't work.
No.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't. There has to be things in place that act as a safety net for people, that, again, remove barriers, because I remember a time growing up when my possibilities were very, very limited, and my parents were absolutely non-existent.
I have one question. Since Dr. Bob's not here, he has a question. Other co-hosts?
Sure.
He said there's been several successful court challenges to the racial gerrymandered district lines. Are there going to be any challenges here in New York State? Sounds like it violates the one person, one vote principle.
Well, we did look at it when it happened to see if there was an opportunity for us to do it. But actually there is a margin that allows you to stay within, even though it seems extreme. And the reality is that they took it to the absolute margins, but we couldn't challenge it.
Okay.
But that's why it's just so important too that the federal government continue to to take a look at how these elections are playing out. And I know
Now
they're
it's
fighting
over,
about
right.
whether or not they should even be involved in monitoring even the ones that are clearly, have always been subjecting people, especially people of color, to just violating their voting rights. I mean, the Voting
Right.
Rights Act is extremely important.
Right.
You're the first person I ever voted for.
Really?
The first person I ever voted for in my life. I saw you with Simma. And you was on Warburton Avenue, and I was so impressed that I saw you two all the time, campaigning and stuff. And you asked me to vote for you, and I lived on Lamartine Terrace, and I voted for you, and
Well,
then I
thank
voted
you.
for Simma.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Would you ever consider running for mayor?
Mayor, governor,
Yonkers.
governor.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, but we
Governor.
want to spend
Yeah.
all the day.
No, but it's interesting because you just said somebody went from Senate to
Diaz.
city council. I wrote a piece when George Latimer was running. There were a lot of that started going to local races.
That's right.
Mayors, city council.
That's
I don't know. It was like a change.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was, but it was something that we hadn't seen before.
Well, the city council has term limits,
Mm-hmm.
and so there's only but so long you can serve, and then
Right.
you leave. And a lot of times they make arrangements. Well, I'll come here. The barons did that.
Yes.
They did
Yeah,
that
yeah.
one time in
Right.
assembly with
They-
Louis
Right.
Ciano and
Yeah.
Spano.
Well,
Yeah.
that was different.
Right.
I
No,
don't-
they
that
swi-
was different.
The barons switched.
That was different. They switched because Charles came up to the assembly and Inez went to the city council because Charles was term limited.
Right.
Oh.
And
Right.
so they basically switched, and that has happened before. The other reality is that a lot of my colleagues look at the dynamics of you don't have to travel to Albany,
Right.
and
right,
the
right.
amount of compensation is much higher. I mean, the legislature, frankly, has not seen an increase in pay in 16 years.
I saw that
16 years, yeah.
and when Senator Ruth Hassel Thompson
Right.
was running for mayor.
Right.
That's when I learned the salary
Right.
that y'all get.
Right.
Her and the mayor of Mount Vernon gets
Right.
144.
Right.
It would have been an incredible
that's
increase,
right.
and you get to stay home.
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying? So
that's
yeah,
exactly right. So
yeah.
I think a lot of people look at whatever their possibilities are and figure out how you can best serve and not necessarily, have it be, take a toll on your life or your.
Right.
So I'm very honored and I really do. I feel blessed that I'm able to do this and try and do it in a way that is not only beneficial to the community, but to, again, giving people hope of what we can do if we're serious about public service. And public service is a calling. And I'm happy to
I
be
know you
able to
probably
do
being
it.
signaled you got to leave.
Yeah.
So let me just ask one question. So we just had the Westchester Black Political Conference.
Okay.
Which was a historical thing.
Wow.
So speak to our listeners of color. What advice would you? Any last words you have? Any suggestions? Any about getting more involved politically? How important our vote and our involvement in politics is?
Well, I guess it's only right to leave in the same way that I began, which is that we now hopefully have no question and no doubt about how important elections are, that they matter in every aspect and every phase of our lives. And you're not always going to agree with everybody who's running, and
Right,
you're always
right.
going to want maybe something to be different or whatever, but your voice counts, your vote counts. I mean, it is still the only thing that we can do where Donald Trump's vote and my vote are exactly equal, period.
That's right.
So as somebody who actually lost an election by 18 votes a while ago,
Right. I remember that. Right.
every vote counts. There's no electoral college because on the national level for the
Right,
president
right.
it is a little bit different. But on these local elections, they count. You matter. People like me want to engage my constituents as much as I can because it is extremely important that people understand that they can influence outcomes. We don't have a good voter turnout, and that's why I've been pushing the different voter reforms, because we have to allow people access, and that's why early voting is so important.
Yes.
I mean, you can't just say on Tuesday, if you miss Tuesday,
Right.
then it's too bad. We don't have that kind of life anymore. But unless we start voting, people won't listen. They won't hear.
Right.
If we start voting, the kinds of changes that we need in order to make communities stronger, to make Westchester better, to make the state better, will start happening because we care enough to participate.
I want to thank you for coming
I
and
thank you,
for
AJ.
taking your time.
Thank you.
Can I say
And-
something
and
to
as
Senator
always-
Bush?
Thank
Okay,
you.
and
Thank
also-
you.
wait, and-
Anytime.
and also-
DK,
And
Wait,
also,
wait,
also, I
before you
want you to, this is an open door for you.
Thank
When
you.
you have something
be
you
back.
need to get out,
Yes.
Yes.
a message, Black Westchester and People Before Politics are there for you
Thank you.
to utilize to get the word out to the people. Because that's another thing, the word's not getting
Right.
to a lot of the
Right.
people that it needs to
Right.
get to.
Right.
Right.
You understand
But
what I'm
it
saying?
will,
And hopefully we're helping to change that.
Yes, I hope so, and I certainly support that. I try and be out as much as I can, all of my communities, and again, I have a statewide presence now, so I'm up and down. I'm in Buffalo,
Right.
I'm in the city, I'm everywhere. But I just think if people just see each of us who are doing these things out in the community, they will get more engaged. So
Right.
thank you for, again,
Absolutely.
doing what
Thank
you're doing.
Thank you.
And I want to thank Simma for, I want to thank Simma for help put the ad through and do all the things that she's done.
Yes, thank
She
you.
was the
Thank you.
best. She rocks big time.
Go ahead, Lorraine.
She's my. I idolize her. Okay. I no. What I want to say is something personal.
Yes.
6 years ago, when I went through a horrible time and I was very sick, you did not run away.
No, I would never.
You
do that.
held me and you let me cry on your shoulder and you gave me Paul Finer's wife's number and you never turned your back on me. And I'm
And look at
forever
you.
grateful
Oh,
to you. Now people are starting to trickle back, but I remember who was there,
thank you.
and I thank you for that.
There you go.
Well,
thank you.
You know, like I said, I realize that if we can't bring that kind of love and that kind of support to one another when you need it, what's the point?
That's right.
You were
What
there.
is
That's
the
right.
point?
You were
so
there.
That's
when
right.
you have come back, really, you look great.
Thank you.
So I'm very happy
Thank
to
you.
see you.
Thank
Good.
you.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
It's so
you.
nice to
Thank
see
you.
Senator Andrea Stewart-Cousins.
Yes.
Yay.
Are you pressing the wrong
And there are papers outside the door, so you can grab a couple if you want to take back to your office or wherever. Yeah.
And watch for the article next
Well
month,
done.
Summer.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you very much. We had a couple other people on the check-in. Lisa Best said peace and blessings to Senator
they
Cousins
sent a lot of
and
us
said,
this
good evening, great people of Westchester.
A lot of folks.
Rose Dixon's on the check-in. Paul Anthony
Yeah, Lisa Best.
Custa. I can never pronounce your last name. The Black Republican that was on the show.
Oh, the Black
Yeah.
Republican?
Yeah. Denise Cardozo Branch is on
Costa.
the check-in. Frank Trulio Jr., Uncle Frank, who turned 50 yesterday. Happy birthday, Uncle Frank.
Happy birthday to Ben from
Oh, happy birthday to Ben from Yonkers Boys. Ramsey Rose on the check-in. Jermaine Barnett. Barry Bookhand. Simone Combs. Joanne Campadani, who has a show here on the Just Crazy show, which is not up there. I think it's Tuesdays. I'm not sure which day it is, but you can check. She has a great show. Emaine, I think that says Emaine. Ken Bright, Kenneth Chamberlain Jr. Of course, Tasha's on the check-in. There's several others that I just saw, and I lost their names real quick. But we want to thank Robert Staples,
D. Wilson.
Barry McGooey. Yeah, I mentioned her. Andrew Josephat, and everyone else who was tuning in. We want to thank you for tuning in. And just for the number I checked the number, but y'all were talking. I didn't want to interrupt you. The conference was watched by 1,434 people live. Another 500 people have watched it since.
Wow.
It's now at 1,937. So another 500 people have watched it since.
And those
since
that are listening to you right now that
I'm
haven't
gonna tune
watched
on.
it, yeah.
And it's on blackwestchester.com now. The whole unedited. Well, we took out the in between parts, so it could flow better. But
nice.
that's on Black Westchester now, so you can go and a little write up on there, and it'll.
So,
go ahead.
No, I'm going to send you something so you can pay so people can see.
Okay.
Keep talking.
Okay.
So,
And Robert Staples said, "Great show, thank you." That's my brother from another mother. Much like Damon and Ken and Kenneth Chamberlain, as my brother, literally my brother from another mother. He's been there for years. He always hold me down, always been down. You know what I'm saying, through thick and thin. So definitely glad to hear he's tuned in. And Rose Dixon, thanks for tuning in. And Tasha said, "Oh my God, what?"
What is she talking about?
I'm not sure. She said,
Tasha,
"What?"
what happened,
She said,
honey?
"What?" with 6 exclamation marks, and then she said, "Oh my God," with 6 exclamation marks. Maybe she was responding to you talking to the senator. I don't know.
I don't think so.
But
yeah, I sent you that. I want to post that so people can see the 8 IDC people.
Okay.
Ooh.
Let's pull that up.
So people can see who are the 8 IDC people. And I'm really shocked at Hamilton. Hamilton took over Eric Adams' Senate district when he decided to run for Brooklyn borough president. And basically, the same people that helped Eric help Hamilton. I know that because I know people in Eric's camp. And it's
Jesse Hamilton. Okay.
yeah, Jesse Hamilton.
He's in the second row.
Right, and it's astonishing that Brooklyn, a place that needs services and need the issues that the senator was talking about, that nobody haven't called Hamilton, out on this.
Because
And
he's delivering to his people.
well,
That's
he
why.
might not, but some people don't know. See, some people don't know on what he's stopping. You understand? Because we know politics, and we know politics sometimes can be they're tricksters and magicians, and you think you're getting something when really you're getting nothing. And
Or you got
when
to give up something like
right,
and
and when you when you are representing the Caribbean community, when you're representing all these different communities in your district, and then you're stopping things that are actually can help the district, then I have a problem with that, because he didn't start out like that. So maybe his second term or his third term, he decided to jump into that. And of course, I'm going to inquire about it. I don't live in Brooklyn, my interest in, but I'm just surprised that Jesse Hamilton and the question is, what did you get? What did you get promised? For that, especially taking the seat after Eric. And Eric, I know Eric co-signed on you, to even get in that position. You wouldn't have got it if it wasn't for Eric co-signing, for you to get his seat. And I don't think Eric would have ever done anything like that, because Eric was his own man, to that point.
Tasha's speaking about another one. She said Marisol
The first one, yeah.
Alcantara was a BB, I think that's BB.
Alcantara.
Okay. Delegate that took the IDC money and power at the time when she was about to lose the race. She is the only Latina, and what happens if they deliver? What happens is they deliver, but they also stop major reform,
Right.
because they are now bought.
Right.
Shout to Doug McBride.
Okay.
So and I tell you, man, everybody on this list, I wish the senator would have more time here, but everybody on this list should be primary. They shouldn't walk. I don't know why nobody has primary Jeff Klein. What the hell is going on?
And with everything he's going through, do these people back his actions? y'all stand with him.
Well, they do because of the fact that
allegations that he has.
I wish Tasha was here because of the fact that we talked on the show the last time. The people that are supposed to investigate him are some of the same people that's on this IDC. So that's a problem. That's also a problem there, you know. And the thing is this, you know, I'm from the school of thought is that if you do wrong by the people, you should pay. You should pay by either be primary or lose your position. It's simple as that. You know, it's simple as that. But see, we play games, you know, and we continue to play games. And you know, and I'm definitely going to inquire from my people in the city, like, yo, are y'all backing this guy? You know, what are you doing? You know, what are you doing? So, and I'm gonna actually inquire because some people might not know he's down with the IDC in Brooklyn. I'm serious; they might not know.
Because you didn't know until you just pulled up the thing.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
If you hadn't pulled up the page, you wouldn't know.
I wouldn't have known. You know, if I didn't Google, and I think everybody should go to the website. No IDC, NewYork.org. Very interesting. You know, and somebody's trying to raise money to take him out.
She said, Marisol is being primaried by Robert Jackson. Can I call in? 718-705-4959, Tasha. Yes, you can call in.
Please call in.
And she, the oh my God and the what, she was talking about the numbers that I said about how many people were watching on the conference. Oh, and she was like, what? Oh my God. She couldn't believe how many people watch. Yeah. So, yeah, that's we have to expose that.
Yeah.
Again, because a lot of people wouldn't know. You know, so we definitely need to expose that. You'll be reading about something about that in Black White Stuff, so I can say that. Klein is being primaried by
Alessandra.
Thank you.
Biaggi.
Okay, thank you.
All right, well, she needed to come on the show.
And somebody else. And when she said Marisol, she said that was supposed to be a Bernie delegate. She was a Bernie delegate.
Really?
And took the IDC money.
Really?
Yes.
That's what she
Say it
said.
again.
So someone needs to call Bernie.
Say it again, Tasha. 718-705-4959. Go ahead.
Really? Does someone need to call Bernie Sanders so he could come in her district and tell her to kiss his ass?
Maybe he's the one that's got put somebody up against her.
Well, they should.
Yeah.
They should. See, this what makes politics bullshit. I'm serious. See, when these politicians for nothing sell their people out. For nothing. Sell their people out.
It said just because she was close to losing her race, so she took that IDC money. So
and
she could keep her seat.
Right. But see, that's what people. That's
so
what they
you sold
do.
your soul.
So that's what people
Another
do.
politician sold. Going.
Right.
Another politician sold.
How much is your soul worth? That's the question.
Right.
Was it worth 10,000, 15,000, 20,000?
Okay. 100,000. One more time, Tasha.
Why don't you type it in?
Okay. Is this you calling? Tasha, is that you? Hello. Oh, Tasha, is that you?
This is Tasha. Hi.
Hey, Tasha, what's happening, girl?
Welcome again. Welcome.
Hey.
Welcome to the People Before Politics show. And let me tell you, on the air, you did a dynamic job yesterday. You should be proud.
Oh my God.
Y'all made history yesterday, and y'all should definitely.
Oh my God.
And we gotta get this applause for you.
Oh my goodness. I am like electrified from yesterday. It was an amazing, amazing event. I'm so proud of all of us and honored to be a part of this movement because this is a movement. And I'm overwhelmed with just good feelings. I got all the feels today.
Aww.
So yeah.
Thank you.
I want you to speak on what you were speaking on a little bit. You know what you were typing in about the Klein thing and the IDC.
Yeah. So the Klein is the leader of IDC.
Right.
He's the one that started this all a few election cycles back. I want to say about 2014, 2013, maybe longer than that. I have my laptop so I can fact check myself. But so he's the one that kind of went rogue back then, and they have a lot of money and support by special interests in real estate and charter school money, actually.
Oh,
And
really? Charter school money.
the major supporters. And he just recruits other senators to this faction of Democrats in name only, because they caucus with Flanagan. They caucus with the Republicans, and it's real dirty business. They do, like, I've called into Klein's district to let his constituents know about this. Some of them know, but the majority of them didn't know. They think when he goes to Albany, he's representing Democratic legislation.
Right, right. And see, the problem is, as we always said, Tasha, the information to the people
doesn't get through.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't
Right.
get through,
Trickle down, yeah.
and I think we have an opportunity from now, because I think he just was on the election ballot last year, so that's every 2 years. So whoever's going to primary him, they need to start now.
We need to get them on the show.
They need to start having town hall meetings, having rallies now.
Yeah.
Now.
Yep.
Even if they're small with 10 or 15 people, they need to start
Yep.
doing now. So by the time the election comes, the word is out all over his district about what
Yep.
he's doing and what is taking place. And so it's really unfortunate, and to see Jesse Hamilton. I don't really know the guy, but I remember when he took Eric Adams' place.
And also, Tasha, all the women who protested outside Klein's office, they need to get behind this person. Like, it's good to that's how that's how the protest is good and the marching is good and everything, but now you want to show your dissatisfaction. That's how you show your dissatisfaction. Get behind the person primary.
See, but not only that, and I'll talk to Lorraine later on something that we're going to do. Not only that, but everybody on that list, right? Everybody on that no IDC list their office need to be called for a comment on Klein's action.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody.
I like that.
Everybody.
And here's the list again while you're talking.
Everybody. See, if you're listening, right, and if some of y'all don't know, Klein was accused by a staffer of sexual harassment. So, but here's the deal. We have seen other elected officials resign, other elected officials step down, other elected officials submit to an investigation, an independent investigation of the claims, right? Nothing has happened with Klein. So no, put those pictures back up. So I want the listeners, call their office, call everybody that's on there, and ask them,
My bad,
what are their opinion on this? Since he's the leader of their conference, what is their opinion? See, we need to start doing that.
I like that, Damon. That's real grassroots, and that's the whole spirit behind kind of everything we're doing. It's like giving the power back, taking it back as the people, taking our power back.
You know what? I'm going to do it tonight. I'll look up personally. I'm going to make it easy for you. I'm going to look up all of their numbers and their numbers, their social media, their addresses.
No, we're going to do that.
Nice.
And I'm going to post it tonight.
Nice.
On blackwestchester.com tonight or tomorrow morning.
Nice.
And then y'all can share it wherever y'all got to share it. And all the information to contact each individual.
That's a great campaign. That's a great campaign, Damon.
The phone bank.
Yeah, well, I mean, people have to do it. I mean, people have to take time out and actually do it.
I'm going to mention it to some of the groups that we work with. So there's a few anti-IDC groups that NIPAM works with. One is called True Blue New York, and they're more like upstate because there's like some upstate senators that are acting up too. And then there's there's True Blue, and then there's No IDC NY. And they're the ones who were behind the phone banking that we did
That's
into the different districts.
That's whose site I'm looking at. No IDC.
Yeah. Yeah, they presented to NIPAN back in October, and we kind of got behind this effort because we're really sick of it. WFP is sick of it. And also, I want to say that someone is primarying Jesse Hamilton. He's a black man, and they're saying he's a progressive Brooklyn lawyer who is challenging GOP-friendly Democrat Jesse Hamilton for state senate. So he's being primaried. Klein is being
friendly. I like
yeah.
That's the site.
Yeah.
No, he
You want me to send it to you?
Oh, that's his site, GOP friendly.
No, she said
that's
he's
No,
what
no.
he's running as.
He said he's a Democrat
Running
and Republican.
against
You know,
a
he's
GOP
GOP.
friendly.
He's a Republican Democrat. Right.
She was just taking a step.
So
Oh,
so Jesse's being
what's the guy's name?
She talking about
his
Jesse
name is
No, the guy that's
Hang on
running
one
against
second.
Jesse Hamilton.
His name is Zelnor Myrie. So it's ZELLNOR.
CELLNOR.
Myrie, MYRIE.
Zelnor for New York. I think that's Myrie.
Yep. So he, the district is from Brownsville to Prospect Park. You know, Jamani could probably speak to this too. And he's 30 years old.
Yeah, I'm looking at
Neighborhood
it right now.
lifer.
He's a young brother.
Yep. And then Robert Jackson, who's he's been on the city council. He's like a establishment dem. He's primarying Marisol. Alessandra Biaggi's from Pelham. So back to your point, AJ, the women who were protesting Klein in front of his office with the NIPAN groups are called the Progressive Women of Pelham. And she's their candidate. She's from Pelham. And because, you know, Klein has some of his district in Westchester. So she's primarying him, and there's one other person primarying him.
Well, we need to vet them, have them both appear on the show so we can get behind one of them.
Okay.
Because, you know,
Okay.
we can't split that up so they can have one person go against him. You know what I'm saying? And,
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, that has to be decided between them.
Right.
But Zelnor, we're gonna make it happen for Zelnor.
So two things. When I gave you the round of applause,
I'll tell you that right now.
Tasha, there's a listener,
Uh-huh.
Lisa Best. She motioned she put the graphic up of clapping hands to you. She was.
Oh,
she was
thank you
applauding
so
as well.
much.
And Curtis Smithson joined in. Montika Jones joined in, and Craig Jackson left a comment. The people before politics, the new beginning of a new chapter for the people of the community and all the neighborhoods where help is needed. And I believe in a man that is right there within these communities making a difference. I believe in Damon K. Jones. And
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you.
And many more people believe in him also.
Peace and love.
Because my screen just changed. Oh, peace and love to Damon K. Jones. I support him and his team with true understanding and true meaning to get the job done. Let's all pull together and make great things happen right now. And Lisa Best wrote, shout to Andre Wallace, Councilman Andre Wallace just tuned in. Lisa Best wrote, grassroots is the heartbeat of the people and communities.
She's right.
Politics always gets in the way of the education and honest concern of community issues. People before politics, Black Westchester, and all the many unsung in the community. The future is now, actually yesterday. And
Wow.
Councilman Andre Wallace said, "What's up?" to everybody on the show. Yeah.
My wife just told me to drink some water. I'll be right back.
Okay.
You serious?
She said my voice sounds groggy.
Oh, that's so cute.
Oh, they just sweet.
Shout
She's
to
worried about
Montika.
her baby
Shout
sounding good on the airwaves.
shout-
That's so adorable.
Shout
You
to-
better go get that one. Look at
I'm
that.
gonna
It
get
made
the
me
water.
laugh.
Shout to Montika.
That's awesome.
Word up. And let me pull up this. You just sent me the link to the guy, Damon. Oh yeah, here he goes. This is who's running in Brooklyn.
The person on the left.
Well, yeah, it wasn't her.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying for somebody that just tuned in.
Yo, Damon, can you give me one too? Damon, can you give me a bottle too, please? If you got it. Yo, yeah. So this is a picture, Zelmore, Myrie, New York, for New York. His website is z4ny.com. z4ny.com for all of those that want to get behind the person primary in Jesse Hamilton. This is him right there.
I'm going to see if I can find Alessandra Biaggi.
Yeah, so that's him right there. Okay, who else? I think we have a couple more people tuned in. Thank you, my brother. Yes, I need that in my life right now. I drink as much of that as possible. Tasha, so, again, yo, I just have to applaud you.
Yeah, I watched it live. It was awesome, Tasha. Awesome.
Oh, my God. Thank you,
You did
guys.
an amazing job.
Oh, my God. I love Lenore Solani. Like, it's so, like, everything I said yesterday was true about just being a young woman. I was a young mother, 21, and I voted for her in 1992. And she was speaking about equality then. She was speaking about the two-party system no longer serving the people back then. And a lot of us who vote Democrat, you know, we didn't really feel the effects of the Clinton administration until like way after. You know, we didn't know that Bill Clinton had become what is called a neoliberal, which is, you know, really just kind of letting things play out with little government interference, but leaning toward corporate entities. And that's where the Democratic Party kind of broke away from the ideals that we thought the Democratic Party represented. So, you know, after Reagan did what he did with the union busting, then you had like these trade deals under the Clinton administration. You had the welfare reform, which was really just criminalizing poor people. Right. All these things happened back then, you know, and Lenore Solani was at the forefront telling people what was coming down the pipe.
And we wasn't listening.
But we drank the Kool-Aid, and he played the saxophone, and we were like, okay, you know.
And what bothers me, there are people who refer to him as the first black president, Clinton.
Right.
Like,
God, yeah.
What, you got another person speaking about yesterday. Jody Reaver, I think I pronounced that right. Yeah. Thank you for a great conference yesterday. You all rocked. I left inspired with thoughts. 3 major takeaways for me were acute need to address housing, the extreme policing numbers that were shared about New Rochelle, possibly black citizens account 95% of the arrests in New Rochelle, and then the need to vote for the right person or just write in your own name, don't settle. Those are the 3 takeaways that person took from the conference yesterday.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
That's deep.
So, you know.
Wow, 95%.
That's
what
I think Dr. Holder, was it Dr. Holder who said that? He said, in New Rochelle, 95% of the arrests in the city of New Rochelle are African-American males, as men and, you know, young men. So, that's like...
AJ,
yes.
How does that happen? I mean, I live in New Rochelle. Like, there are not real big pockets of, you know, like, it's a very diverse
Right, it's not Mount
city.
Vernon. In other words, it's not Mount Vernon.
Right.
Where there's a lot.
Right.
Like, you know, that's 95% of the arrests in New Rochelle, you know, being African-American. That was definitely... I want to research more about that, and I want to actually have him come on the show. When Dr. Holder, I think it was him, was talking about that New Rochelle African-American males make up 95% of all arrests.
Are we surprised? Wait, first of all, are we surprised? Right? Are we surprised that 95% of the arrests in New Rochelle are black people? Right?
I'm just flabbergasted.
But why?
Check out the other towns.
But why should we be surprised when our jails is full with the majority of people of color? We can't, because the only way they're going to get there is get arrested. right? So if they're the majority of the jails, in jail, they're the majority of the people getting arrested. So I mean, look at Ferguson when they started examining Ferguson, right? And they started seeing that more black people were being ticketed than white people. More black people were being arrested than white people, right? Yep. You know, when you look at other cities when they were looking at the whole racial profiling thing about ICE, and then they started seeing that the Hispanics in Texas, even though that they're 9 to 10%, you know, of the population, you know, they were 40 to 50% of the people being pulled over. Right. So I mean, we can't be surprised about the system. We can't be surprised that police pull over black people more. You know, that black police pull over black people more because of the institution. You know, and like I always say, you know, it's not your color, it's your conscience. I don't care if you have more black police on the police station. You know, they could be, they'll beat you worse than the white cop because they want to prove that they're going to be, that they belong in this institution. So, you know, we can't be, but the problem is now, what are we going to do with it? Now, if 95% of the people arrested, what the hell were they being arrested for? Right? Standing on the corner playing when them 2 white cops pulled a gun out those kids in New Rochelle?
Or the snowball. Remember the snowball fight?
Yeah, the snowball fight. That's what I'm talking about. They was having a snowball fight and cops got out and pulled guns out on them.
And just for the record, when I talked to, that was one of the first police commissioners I talked to. It was probably 2014 or early 2015. He said, racism does not play. There's no racism in his department, and race does not play a part on how people are policed.
That's bullshit.
No, but I'm just saying he was the first. All commissioners have told me that, but he was the first one that actually told me those words for a comment for a story.
And I would have told him that's bullshit. You cannot you cannot say that racism is not in police departments when racism is in society. I mean, you know, for any commissioner or any elected official, mayor, to actually tell black people that, it's just like we're fucking stupid. You know, if there's racism in society, there's racism in the police department, right? Who did they use to beat up Martin Luther King and all those peaceful people marching over the bridge? Police. Who was on the other end of the dogs? Police. Right? They're police officers. I've been in law enforcement 28 years, and it is the racist institution in America. It's run by white men. They don't even give a fuck about their white females. They're run by white men.
Is that our next guest?
Yes. And the next guest, please come in. I'm sorry.
Because I didn't know that you were here until I just saw you standing there.
It's run by white men, you know. Hey, what's happening, brother? It's run by white men. I mean, look, I don't care who's watching. I done posted it all over the place. And people going to be watching, like, oh, man, DK going crazy. But it is what it is. And for us to be denial that racism does not exist in these institutions, then we're lying to ourselves. And we're lying because, look, white people, black people, they get into these things. They come from their cliques. They come from their communities. Majority of black, majority of white, right? There's young white kids that work in correction that come from communities that they never had a actual real conversation with a black person till they came into the jail, right? There's white cops that come from upstate that come down here in Mount Vernon, all these different places that never really had a conversation with a black person until they got the job, because we are separated in our tribes, whether we like it or not. But the problem is we don't want to admit it so we could work through it. We want to lie to each other, talking about, oh, racism don't exist. It exists. If it existed in society, it exists in the institutions that represent society.
Absolutely. And with that, we're going to change
the
lane a little bit and get into our next guest, and we're going to have them introduce themselves.
1, 2. I'm on.
Yes, you
Yeah,
are.
you on, brother.
All right, I'm
Oh,
Jeff.
you tell. He a pro. He played 1-2. He got
That's what we do. We do music. We in the studio all the
Make
time.
sure, make sure,
That's right. That's right.
make sure you talk into your mics and you got access to the computer for your
Yeah,
social
see,
media and
just
all that.
internet.
Let everybody know you're
What's
here.
the link to send them to?
Actually, the W in the mix 2xradio.com.
Just go to In the Mix Radio.
And if they go to Facebook, on my page, they can
Well,
share it.
the website is inthemixradio.com.
Right.
If they're gonna go on the website,
Right.
if you want to share it, just
It's on my page, AJ Woodson.
yeah,
And
AJ
you
Woodson.
and you can share it to your page, and they
Right.
can watch right from your page.
Right.
Okay, because I think I just got you on here too.
Yeah. If you do that,
Mr.
they
Woodson.
can watch from your page.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I'm Jeff Suttles. I'm a musician, college student, trying to get into activism, doing a little bit of work in that area, and just trying to be positive in the community.
Hi, I'm Greg D. Cash, Business and Finance. I'm one of Jeff's partners. He's looking to do some open mics and events.
Okay. Well, I had to stop right there. Most people, like, I just love your intro, and you said trying to getting into some activism.
Yeah.
I think we need to be activated in everything we do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so if you're gonna do a music, not that everything you need to do has to speak, you know what I'm saying, on issues, but you need to sprinkle it in there once you have that audience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, most of my work that I'm doing now personally, not to say I don't write love songs anymore, but that's mostly the guys that I work with. The stuff that I'm writing for my stuff it has to have some type of substance. It has to be about some type of change occurring within our community, within the work, using our abilities to try to do more than just like, excuse my language, but
No,
get-
it's
no,
okay.
you talk
get with
Oh,
women.
no, I'm probably worse
You know what I
than
mean?
you are.
As a younger man, that's what we
I'm a
use
truck
our
driver
talent
now.
for.
Right,
Trying to get
my
chicks.
God.
You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
Well, as you get older and you season out a little bit more, you see that there's a lot more going on out here, and that's where we at right now with that.
So you're signed. You're trying to get signed. You're just building your buzz. Where are you at in your?
What I do
music?
mostly is a production and publishing aspect of it.
Okay,
I know
okay.
everybody does the independent labels now. I heard you at the Rapathon speaking about the power of independent labels.
Right.
And you drop some gems, man. So, I mean, we're living in a day and age which, like you said, like the majors used to be able to take your career and do whatever they want with it.
I couldn't in '88. I couldn't reach the world without signing to a major.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Like there was no way to get my music to the world. Now you can sit in your living room. Any Joe can sit in their living room, push a button, and can literally reach the world now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know,
YouTube
Right.
it or whatever it may be.
yeah.
Social media.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so with that in mind, I think there's a lot of opportunity, like you said, for people to come up and build their brand and develop what they're doing more than you had to, like, at one time have to seek a record company's approval, or you had to come through somebody that was already out.
Not taking no calls right now, please. Hold all calls. Go ahead.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what I do is the production and writing aspect of it, and I try to work with artists. I got a couple of artists that got some material coming out this year. Big shout out to Best TV, Larry Edwards, and my man Mo BPM. And I've been doing that with them, just writing songs and getting ready to try to get it out there, get a little buzz on social media if possible. But with the way I'm looking at the game now, you do need to have some money put aside to do some marketing and promotion.
Absolutely.
Even if you do, especially if you're doing it independently. But if you got a little chance to throw at that, and
So
some months to work it, you have a
You
good
said
chance.
production and what
And writing.
And writing.
Yeah, publishing and production.
Now,
is
I just
my
want to
big
say
thing.
one thing about that. People don't know. Like one other thing, I speak at rap conferences and stuff. Everyone that cannot be a rapper or a singer or a DJ. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
But sometimes the person that makes the money is the person that you don't see who writes those songs. You understand what I'm saying? Like because they get that royalty. That you know what I'm saying? They got that they that ownership.
No,
you know?
that's true.
I'm a huge fan of Quincy Jones, the
Right.
RZA. You look
Right,
at my
right.
Facebook page, I'm talking about those guys. I'm studying the linear notes as
Right.
a younger artist or producer at one time, just trying to figure out what they're doing, what musicians they're working with. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
My mind's always coming from that end. And the good thing about the industry now is that you have some producers like Mike Will and Pharrell who get a little shine off of doing their thing, but they came in the direction of being producers from behind the scene.
Hey, Missy's
another one.
was like,
I was going to mention Missy.
They were like,
yeah.
could be like, why is she rapping on that song? Because she wrote it.
Yeah,
You understand what I'm saying? So you didn't even know that she wrote all the people's songs that she was writing on. She wrote that song for that artist.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So she gets that check. And if they do a remake, here's the most important thing. If they were to do a remake of the song, the singer doesn't get paid, the writer gets paid.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So,
That's very important.
Because it's just so like, songs get remade and remade and remade. The person who wrote that
The
song,
original writer.
like when they use Aretha Franklin, she doesn't get paid for those songs. The writer gets paid for that song.
That's why
you know what I'm saying?
True.
So,
that's why Barry Gordy kept the publishing for Motown.
and that's what made Michael Jackson dangerous. Because he owned, not only he owned his masters.
They say
You understand what I'm saying? Like he owned
yeah.
whoever owns the masters is the master. Like I say, literally,
That is true.
he owned the Beatles publishing at
Yeah,
one
yeah,
time.
yeah, actually, they're
Paul
publishing.
McCartney had a fallout.
Right.
That's right.
So there's ways to make money without being in the spotlight.
Yeah.
You know, like everybody wants the spotlight. You know, like you said, Pharrell, he has a partner. He let Pharrell be in the spotlight. His partner eating, but you don't see his. And Baby from Cash Money got a brother who's a partner.
Yeah,
he let Baby be the.
yeah.
He let Baby be the front.
Yeah.
He in the back cashing checks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's not doing all that. You don't see him in no scandals or nothing. You don't hear his name. But he eating. You know what I'm saying? So,
he's
just low key.
Low key, yeah.
The publishing is where it's at. That's where all the money's at. Writing.
Yeah.
And Jeff is heading in the right direction. Do the writing and producing and publishing. That's where it's at.
I think so. I think it's that's where my heart has always been anyway as a musician.
So how long have you been in it? And for the people who don't know where you're from and who are you?
Well, I grew up I was born in New York, but I moved to Massachusetts. Springfield, Massachusetts is where I went to high school. Okay, so then I moved back to New York and I started a group called Mass Appeal with my brother, my cousin, and one of my good friends from high school. And we did some touring on the East Coast lightly, back in the mid-'90s. Had a little song out with Smooth B from Nice and Smooth called All Night on Itchy Bomb. And we worked that single for a while, and, nothing really kicked off, and the guys got married and had kids, and I just kept doing music. So, I ended up moving back here and starting my production, and just kind of like putting things together based off of the experience that I went through from an artist's point of view, trying to get a deal back then. Going through that whole process, and you know how it was. So, for some reason, we just never got a big record. You need a big. I think you need big records in this business.
Right.
Even like a lot of stars that you still see it performing, they have big records. New Edition could tour forever because they got big records to perform. People gonna want to pay to see them do those records.
So that's why Frankie Beverly still.
Frankie
Beverly.
They don't have to make. They haven't made a new record.
He can perform them same 4 or 5 songs.
That's right.
And do shows. If he gonna do 4 shows a year, there are people that will go to all 4 of those shows. They hear him sing them same songs over and over.
And like Russell, a friend of mine, Russell, his wife works with Stevie Wonder.
Okay.
And Stevie Wonder has tons of new music, but guess what? Nobody wants to hear that. You understand what I'm saying? They want to hear "Ribbon in the Sky." They want to imagine
all the hits.
But imagine how many times Stevie Wonder sung "A Ribbon in the Sky."
Yeah.
What about George Collins?
Oh my God!
He'd do a show for like 6 hours, and you're tired. You're like, I gotta go to dinner now, or something. There's a dinner date, But he's still performing. He's strong. That's from way back. They have the energy in them. It's different today.
No, it's different. Who was it? Was it Cool G Rap or Jay-Z was talking about the longevity of R&B and rock and roll different than the longevity of hip hop.
Right, we have rock and roll legends.
Like people don't want to hear the old cats.
Right.
But Led Zeppelin, something way back one of their first albums, they can still play today and pack the house. You understand?
They bring Ozzy Osbourne. They bring him out of something. He's standing there with the guitar. Okay.
Speaking of one of our older artists, one of our legends, Stephen Lewis from Atlantic Stars.
Hey, what's up, man?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my man Mo that I was saying earlier. That's his uncle.
Okay.
People from Atlantic Stars, so he's related to them. They were a good group at one time.
Yeah, they still.
But I mean, they still perform those same. That
But
people still want to hear those songs.
Oh yeah.
You know
Right,
what I'm saying?
right, right.
Secret Lover, they go everywhere and put, you know,
Oh,
and they gonna tear that up everywhere they go. You know.
But it's the writing, you know, they had a story to tell. Just like
Right.
movies back in the days, it was a
That's
story.
right.
If it's a short half an hour sitcom, it was a story and you followed it all the way through. Then at the end, you're like, wow, that was really good. Can't wait till tomorrow or the next time it come on because it's a story and it's compelling, and that's what's important.
Now, you said you're his business partner.
Well, we have an adventure that's coming up. He wants to do some showcasing. I'm more business and finance.
Okay.
You know,
Now,
I see that
I want-
people and individuals and people of color should be in business.
That's where I wanted
they
to
should
take
learn
this
about
conversation.
financing.
Absolutely.
You
I
know,
wanted to
so-
talk about how important, especially talking to the artists out there, all the aspiring artists out there, how important business and financing.
No,
finances
just
is
business
your-
people in
You know
general.
what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
important
general.
to your career, though. You know what I'm saying? But,
Because they don't know the business side of what they do, you know, and you was just talking about publishing.
Right.
That's how you could live off your royalties. You
That's
know?
right.
But if you didn't write anything, where you could make your money at is, well, I got to perform. You know, if I don't go on tour, you know, I can't eat. You know, you need to have some writing and some publishing
just a
that,
example.
that's sustainable,
Yeah.
you know, and keep you going.
they said Michael Jackson, when he brought the Beatles catalog,
Okay.
that netted $30 million a year
Oh,
off the
wow.
bat, without him doing anything.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
catalog that he owned
Okay.
was $30 million a year.
That's impressive.
You understand what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
Easy, because they got a couple of their albums is rated like top Rolling Stones top
Yeah.
10 of all
yeah,
time.
yeah.
A couple of those albums they got, so I believe it. I mean, even the Eagles, you know, what
Right,
I mean?
right, right.
Michael Jackson himself, like
That's
those,
why Mick
those
Jagger
albums,
still. Mick
yeah.
Jagger
good.
still.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's about
yeah,
to fall
yeah.
out, but he's still.
He's still performing.
Yeah.
I give him credit. Just keep going, man.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
what you love. You know, why would you stop? But you
Well,
got
but
Elton
we
John.
but-
He's
but-
stopping.
But shout to Rakim, who
Oh.
just turned 50
Yeah.
and is
Yeah.
still rocking. You know understand what I'm saying? Like, you know, so we do have a few,
Yeah.
just a few. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That
Well,
people are paying to see. You
I
know?
was so fortunate to see from Mobb Deep Prodigy perform before he
Oh,
passed.
rest in
I was
peace,
like,
yes.
wow, him passing?
Yeah.
You know, it's strange how he died. Did he die by choking on an egg in the hospital, or what's
Well, he
really
he
with
had
that?
the what was
Sickle
it?
cell, right?
He had the
all
sickle
of the-
cell, but I'm just saying from what he
yeah.
died from, not
Well,
from sickle cell.
There's and that's a story for another show.
Okay.
But there's some mystery around.
Okay.
There's some, you know,
All right.
a lot of
Gotcha.
unanswered questions from what I understand.
Give it
from
time.
What I'm heard, yeah. So.
Give it time.
Yeah, but hip hop is adult now. It's maturing. It's like, you know, there's people that came up through hip hop that are now 50,
That's right.
60 years old. And this is the first time because of the genre and the way it was built, because it came along at a time where we were creating it as we go.
Right.
Now we can really see like it's seasoned out now. It's now senior citizens of like hip hop, you know, hip hop heads. You know what I'm
Grandmaster
saying?
Cavs from Cold Crush,
Mm-hmm.
the day of the documentary, the Rapicon, that night celebrated his 42-year anniversary in hip hop.
Oh wow.
I was trying to go, but I was just worn out from Rapicon and all the stuff we was
That's
running
beautiful.
around. But I wanted to be at that. Yeah.
Yeah, because it represents a whole nother level now of the maturity of the music and the timeline. It says a lot. You know, a lot of historians I study with in school, they study this stuff. And they're
Where can
amazed.
people? Do you have music that people can go online and hear if they want to check you out? Or
Yeah, I have a
what do you-
SoundCloud. You can go to my SoundCloud. It's Colin Suttles, COLLIN Suttles, SUTTLES, and also same thing with YouTube, Colin Suttles, and that's where you can check out some of my production. The newest stuff that's coming out is not available online yet, but we'll get it out there soon. Got some mixes to finish up, mastering, but it'll be available for you soon, very soon.
Now, what would you like to see? Where would you like to go? Where would you like to take this?
Well, like I said, I brought Cash in. I want to see him and Shanice help me out, get these artists a good showcase so that they can get people engaged in what they're doing,
Right.
and you know, build a following from there. You know, that's what I believe is the best route to go. Even as a musician, you know, you do good work, people come back to you. You know what I'm
Absolutely,
saying? So,
absolutely.
you know, that's pretty much what I want to get the artists in the practice of doing, is making sure that they come prepared, do their thing, and they know how they're supposed to work when it comes to people setting them up and putting them in a position to win and not, you know, fail.
Teach them more about some business aspects, you know,
Right,
about
yeah.
the publishing and things they could do, how to get their music out, how to do marketing.
Right.
It's very important.
Now,
And social media.
a lot of people don't know, and they see my partner, you know, they see him out there talking politics and talking about black rights and all this stuff.
Yeah,
they don't know we started at, we had a music company together.
Yes.
And he actually was the one that was going to try to put the Hip Hop Hall of Fame in Mount Vernon.
Oh, yeah?
You know, and that's how we met.
Okay.
And I, you know, we were working on that, and I was introducing him to people in the industry, and that's how we got tight. You know what I'm saying? So, and then we had our little, you know, entertainment company for a minute.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But, you know.
Had a good run at it, huh?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Well, as he said, when you start spending more money and you don't see nothing coming in after a while, you know.
I mean, it doesn't make sense. You know, so, I mean,
Listen, man, I remember I took a loan for my retirement.
Oh.
And 10 grand. And just bought, and a friend of mine, my man Russell, he's in the big in the music business. He said, you gonna do it? I said, yeah, I'm gonna do it. Took loan, and just bought all the studio equipment, 10,000. Back then, that was a lot of money.
We talking about 92, 93, 90.
Yeah, and the girl I was living with, man, I know she didn't like that. Turning one of the bedrooms into a studio, you know, and you know, and then we was out. We was doing a lot of things, but you know, I mean, when you're putting all the money up and other people wasn't, well, we know how it goes.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, and then it's like, you know what, I'm out.
It goes to what else I said on the documentary about people looking for deals. If you're not making noise in your backyard, why should I put money behind you and don't nobody in where you live where you at? You know what I'm saying? That's even on the level we was on, or whether it's a major label. If you don't have a buzz in your area, you know what I'm saying? The people are not talking about you where you know what I'm saying? Your own backyard and the surrounding. Like, dude, like, you know what I'm saying? When you can reach the world now, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You know, if you don't have no kind of following, a lot of these young people have these followings because of social media.
Yeah.
Even starting back as far as that dude Soulja Boy. And I'm not really a big fan of his music, but he was killing it on social media before he had a record deal. And then we was 15 and 16. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
That's the way of like doing a mixtape.
Right.
Underground, using the social media.
Right.
So that's
and
the
now
new
you can put your
mixtape.
mixtape on social media.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you just, you know.
You could do it all digital.
Yeah.
I was listening to an interview with Cardi B, that Rap Radar.
Okay.
And she was saying how she had a huge social media following, and then that led to the reality TV, which led to her being able to put a song out. Okay. So it's almost like now it's like you got to come through those different things and still just build. And I think what she was doing was selling herself more than anything. Okay. She'll tell you she's not a great rapper. She said, it take me a long time to write raps, but I'm getting better. But her personality is what she's selling. She go hard. Like, you can tell she from the Bronx, and she like she grew up gritty. So it's like, you know, she go hard. And that's what she's selling. And people are buying into that. Just her personality. So I say that's what I say to artists. At this point, make sure you bring yourself. Don't give people who you are. You know what I'm saying? And if now the good thing about now is like a singer couldn't rap back when we was doing it, or a rappers singing. Now you can intermix it. You can tell jokes. You know, you can do a lot of. You can just entertain people.
People like Lauryn Hill blew that out the water, because she did both well.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
It took
really
somebody
well
like that coming through the Fugees, I would say. It took them coming through and making that lane happen for people to accept it. Because it was like, you know, it was either one or the other back in the day. Right. So that's a good thing now.
Because when rappers started trying to sing, we was like, "What the hell is he doing?" Like as nasty as cool as Big Daddy Kane was when he tried to do that little love, whatever he was doing for a minute. We was like with the purple sequin suit. We was yo Kane, what you doing, bro? You know what I'm saying? That's my boy. But we was like, trying to get the female market. He was like, he was trying to be like a rap Rick James or something.
There's something in his mind like that. You know?
Didn't he do an album with Barry White?
He did a song
with some slow album because he had the robe on the album or something. I thought he was losing his mind.
He was searching.
You try. You try. I like when the artists got together and they did Crush Groove. You know, they did they acting in Crush Groove. That was good. It opened up a lot of doors. And then with Run DMC doing that with Walk This Way, you know, Aerosmith, opened doors. You know, you got to try different ventures.
I want to say too, my man Jupiter that does the video and the photos. He said he called in a couple of times, but it's going to unavailable. but we definitely wanted to include him in the mix. He's going to be doing some good things.
Because I didn't know who I wanted to give you.
who-
We didn't have a lot of time. Somebody called in, and I
Yeah.
didn't take the call.
We got a short film we just finished up called
really?
A Look at the Time. You know, and I did the music, Jupe did the editing, and one of the guys that we went to City College with did the film, wrote the film. So look for that. A Look at the Time, and look for the new stuff coming. Cash, he's ready to make some moves. We've been talking about.
I'm
this
ready
for a
to do
while.
the
Trying to
events.
some
We need to
events,
do
you know?
some business and teach some education about finance. You know, even
absolutely.
basically with a 401k or REITs. You know, some real estate invested trusts. You know, teach you how to invest your money. When you work hard with your money, you want to keep it as long as you can and learn how to budget. You know, you got to budget yourself
That's what
to
we
get to
need.
that goal.
That's what we
That in
need.
Right.
2 years or 3 years, you can put that down payment and you have the closing costs for that condo or a home or something like that you want. You don't necessarily have to go, like with a car. People want a brand new car. You don't have to buy the car. Lease it. You know, in 3 years, you see where you at.
And you don't need
try it
12
out.
of them.
Oh, man. Ouch.
You can only drive one. Even if you drive one every day, that's still only 7 days. Like,
That's a good point.
You don't need 12
Yeah.
six-digit figure cars. Like,
I think as people of color, we have the tendency to overindulge.
Okay.
And I was looking at a documentary with Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett drives like a Buick. Live in the same house he had for over 30 years. The house he
Right.
grew his kid.
But he has the means, you know, if you need
billions
it.
of dollars he generates.
Right.
But he go to McDonald's every morning, get him a sausage sandwich, or you know what I mean. He's
That's
so
right.
routine that he don't never come. His wife said he don't buy fancy paintings and
Okay.
jewelry. He ain't that type of dude.
I seen Bill Gates walking down the street in Manhattan. I used to be a street messenger for an architect firm.
Oh.
I literally almost bumped into him. I never knew it was him. He was a plain-looking, corny white dude.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like he was just jeans and the little shirt. Like, there was nothing fast. There was nothing to say.
Wow.
This cat got money. Then I saw him on TV like 2 weeks later. I was like, yo, that's that dude. Like, that's him.
You
Like,
didn't
yeah,
know?
Yeah, like, yeah.
Like this.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I walked past the dude, almost
Right.
bumped into him. Like,
Wow.
Yo,
That's
I don't
plain.
think that.
but you would never know. Like, in other words,
You're right, you would
and
never know.
And he's one of the richest people.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So I don't know if
Okay.
Oprah would you could consider Oprah flashy, but you know I think that's one thing where hip hop gets that stigmatized. All of Diddy and
Well, people buy into that,
Jay-Z
the videos.
and, you know what I mean?
Right,
Because it's
right,
always a
right.
battle. Who can do it the biggest, and who can do it the flyest? You know, we try to outdo each other in a healthy way.
Right.
But as a
we
people,
end up spending a
but
lot
as
of
a
money
people,
doing that.
we're drawn to the flash, though.
Is that 'cause we didn't have it at one time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the people, no, but I'm saying the people that do those videos, we're drawn to those videos.
Yeah.
But it's not just. But I always say, like, in the society you grow up in, like we all grew up in before there was hip hop. We had lifestyles of the rich and famous and stuff we used to watch.
Oh,
And, you know,
yeah,
it's just-
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Robin Leach, here
you
we
know,
come.
We used to watch that stuff and be like, wow.
Yeah.
Before that was like
Right,
MTV
right.
Cribs. You know what I'm saying? Before hip hop. So
Yeah.
this country has always been based on capitalism and money and making money and
Right.
most money. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's now you got black people making money in this country that grew up in this country. Now they want to do what they seen on TV.
Right.
You know what I'm
right.
saying? So
Right. But a lot of it they don't own. People got to understand
Right.
they don't own that. You know.
Is that healthy for our community or not, in your opinion?
no, especially like you know, and talking about the music. Pac didn't own the stuff that you thought he owned.
Right.
So
Oh yeah, that's a good
There
point.
was like, yo,
His mother
there-
ended up getting
no, but some stuff that like you thought was Pac's.
It was the
where
record
he
label.
lived and the cars he drove.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Those were in Suge's name.
Yeah.
Those were not his.
Yeah, they
You
say
know what I'm
he had
saying? When
maybe
his
like one or
family
two
went to go
cars.
get his stuff,
Yeah.
that wasn't his stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
That's true.
even on the level of us, we didn't make the kind of money Jay-Z and them were making, but the money we were making was good for then.
Yeah.
You couldn't tell me at that age it wasn't always coming in.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? That's another thing. Like you could not tell me then.
Right. Was it-
There's nothing you could have told me that this wasn't. It wasn't always going to be like this. It
Right.
keep being more and more and more.
Right.
You know,
But
had
that's how-
someone told me
Yeah.
about finances
I was about
and
to say, yeah.
stuff like that
Right.
when I was getting into the game.
Oh, that was good.
Because
Good lesson. Then.
one of the things I say is, even as parents, my parents didn't teach me what credit was. I found out what credit was when I didn't have it. That's when I found out what it was and how important it was.
Okay.
But by that time, I didn't have it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't blew it already. You know what I'm saying?
But as kids, we gotta, you know, as you were a kid then, you gotta look outside of your parents. Your parents don't know everything. You know, you can't know every single thing. You know, in finance
Right.
and you know, and credit and. you got to look outside. You got to read books. You know, be
But
inspired.
But we didn't know to look for those things.
Yeah,
Like,
you didn't
it was
know
a-
at that
that's
point.
what
You
I'm saying,
didn't
we
know.
didn't know
I
to
give
look
you
for
that.
you
Yeah,
know?
you did not know.
Yeah.
Right. I understand that. But today, for the kids today, they got to look outside, and we have so much on the internet. You go if you're interested
right
and you want
now-
something to be done, you'll get it done.
This is the information age right now.
It is.
There's nothing you can't find on the internet. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We didn't have that in '88.
You can do your own investments online. You know.
We're coming to the close of the show, but any last words again? How people could reach you? What you want people to know? Anything like that?
Once again, you can catch some of my work at Colin Suttles, either YouTube or SoundCloud. The studio number is 914-363-9563. If you want to hear some tracks, if you want to collab on something, hit us up. You can email me at jmsbookings@icloud.com. And I want to give a big shout out to my nephew who signed a letter of intent with West Point for soccer, and he's headed out that way, and we got a lot of high hopes for him, man. Just looking at the picture on Facebook. I know my brother worked really hard to get him there to help him out, you know. So he's off to a good start.
That's good. And if you want to reach me, you can reach me through Jeff. You know, on the business arm of the finance. Educate yourself about finances. Work with your credit. You know, get a credit report and see what information is on your credit report, and then you can speak from a position of power once you learn how to deal with that. So be educated. You know, work your muscle memory for finances, and own your own business.
That's right.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's very
I think
important.
that's why Jay-Z didn't get any awards, because he told people the secret, their credit.
Well, not only that, in his album, I mean,
a lot of gems on that
he
for
put out his
people.
own album. He owns that. Like, you know what I'm saying? He put out.
Yeah.
He
Not
put
even his album. He owns a platform now. Tidal's a platform
Right,
where
right,
they
right,
shove
right.
all type of music out.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
how Jimmy Iovine and all them make a lot of money.
That's
He
right.
figured it out.
True.
Right.
You host.
Right.
You host where everybody got to come through to hear the music.
That's right.
So you know they
That's
got to
right.
see you, and he puts his stuff out on that first. So you know he's got
Right.
his product is in demand.
Right.
So he does a lot of that rap radar. That's why I hear a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I used to subscribe to Tidal, but I said, "Damn, this is the whole thing is Jay-Z." I said, "It's like this is like owning like Jay-Z's catalog."
Oh,
you
man.
you know what I'm saying? It's like renting Jay-Z's catalog,
Right.
You know, because I say, "Wait a minute, I'm scrolling, I don't see nothing new." You know, it's like it's all Jay stuff. Like they premiere all, especially when his album came out, it was like crazy Jay stuff. You know, and you saw how he did it. You couldn't get
For the,
the
first
full
2 weeks.
album for nobody else but him, and you had to join Tidal to even play it.
That's the reason I joined Tidal.
Yo, but after that,
That's the reason I
but when it
saw
came
it.
on Apple Music, I stopped. I ended my subscription.
You cut it?
I cut it. I was like, wait a
kept
minute.
it, though,
Oh,
'cause, you know, I needed somewhere where I could get all the new music.
Well,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, new
So it's
new
funny,
music.
You know, you got
Right.
new music coming out.
Right.
You got his old stuff.
No, you in the music. You need it.
Yeah.
Right.
I
You
need to
need
hear
it.
what's coming out.
You need it.
I like Migos. I heard their new record. They sound pretty good.
But it's just
Wow.
like a lot of people are still reluctant to hand over their music to Tidal because it's run by him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No,
so
that's how it's gonna be, bro.
Until you know what I'm saying? Like,
Because he's black.
Yeah. So,
You know, I mean, he's black because remember, even though he has that, right? The institution is still controlled by people that don't look like us. When you talk about the lawyers, when you talk about all those different entities that make the music business, you know, he could get this, but he still has to come back and deal with all these other different entities that's going to say, you know what, we ain't going to deal with you. You know, some people will, and still some people won't. Because he's black, and now he's not only black, he's challenging the system, and he's dropping a record that's actually teaching people what to do with their money. Don't be a fool.
Right.
You know, don't do this and don't do that. Like, and he's right. Yo, with all the drug money that black people got, they don't control the hood.
No.
Right?
No, they don't.
Right? But the Italians or any other race that do illegal stuff, they control their communities.
and they open up stores for their family
Right, they
members.
control their communities. And this is not jabbing on the Italians, but you just did it right. you understand? The Chinese did it right. The Jew, you don't think the Jews was in the mafia? You know, they were they were the majority of the mafia.
Well, most of the big wealthy families in this country, their money came from ill-gotten goods.
The
Kennedys
Kennedys,
and all
come
of that, you know
on,
what I'm saying?
man.
So
The Kennedys.
And
And when they finish, they just say, I don't do that no more.
Right. But one lesson, and I want to get off. I want to go. One lesson that everybody should take from the Kennedys.
Okay.
Look of the sins of the father to the sons, the grandsons. Look at the tragedy that has hit that family.
Oh,
You understand? The death that you understand, like the sins. Like there's only but so much. You know what I'm saying? The things balance out a little bit. You can only do but so much. And it was the sins of the father. Both his sons died tragically. The grandson, JFK Jr. Was it JFK?
Airplane crash.
Yeah, one of them had a skiing accident or something like.
There's another one coming back though.
Yeah.
The one with the Vaseline all over his lips, and making a speech. No one heard what he had to say.
He came on after Trump did the first.
That's what I'm talking about.
They got high hopes for him.
Yeah.
Well,
hopefully,
they might be back, man. They might be back. They're huge in Massachusetts.
No, but one of the closest thing to royalty. But I was just saying, still look at the results though. Like, you know what I'm saying? People talk about the money, but look at the results of all the dirt he did. The sins of the father trickle down to that family. You know,
that's a whole other conversation. Me and you could get on now.
But taken from that story, what I like about the Kennedys, they would always have their dinners. They get together and they talk about some politics. They talk about business and what they're going to do. So I appreciate that. I take the good out of different stories.
Right. Well, you have to take
I keep it with me and
learn lessons from everything. But the other thing I wanted to say, we don't understand. And Chris Rock said this years ago. He said, black people don't understand the difference between rich and wealthy. It was like, at the time when Kobe and Shaq were together, he's like, Kobe and Shaq, they rich, but that white man that signed their check is wealthy. You know what I'm saying? At the time, he said, Oprah's rich, but Bill Gates is wealthy. You understand what I'm saying? Like, because they said at one point, back then, at one point, Bill Gates wins or loses, this is back 10 years, this is back some years, Oprah's net worth in a day.
Wow.
On the stock market.
That's powerful.
You know what I'm saying?
That's powerful.
And one day, like, he will either gain or lose her net wealth on the stock market in any given day.
That's big.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
The question is.
So there's a difference between rich and wealthy.
It is.
And we don't know the difference.
Well, the question. Oh, we're over, man. We got it. You know what? All right. The question is this: what the fuck do you do with all that money? Like, we sitting here. 100,000, 150,000, 200,000. Black folks riding around in Benzes and all this other stuff, making $200,000 a year, right?
Okay.
And cats like Bill Gates and all them, like that's like a penny. You understand? Yeah. That's like a penny. But they still strive to make more. And it's like
let that money make money for them.
Yeah, but some of them still like a Trump. He's greedy.
That's a whole nother topic.
Right, but he's greedy. But there's other rich people out there like him.
Oh yeah.
You understand? But he's greedy. It's like okay, you're good. Your great grandkids are good, right? Mm-hmm. And you're still and you're still putting your foot on poor people's necks to make more money.
Mm-hmm. It's arrogance. He's self-centered. That's just the way he is. I mean, when you look at family like the Rothschild family, I mean, that's wealthy. When you spoke about wealthy and rich, that's what wealthy is. Right. That family, Ford family, Hilton, something that just keep generating money. Residual income, that's wealthy. Rich, okay, I'm making money. When you stop making money, okay, I go to bed. What do I have? It's not steady being generated. It's not coming in.
Generational wealth.
Exactly.
Like, we don't know about generational wealth.
No, we do not.
Yeah.
We do not.
Yeah.
That's true. Right. And that's a new thing that black people are going to see with how the passing of money going down with some of our rich people, how their kids will deal with it,
Right.
It's going to be
interesting. Something interesting.
Because you got to be educated.
You have to be educated.
That's what you say about being young. Just giving a young brother money. You got to be educated on how to look long term.
Well, you take an individual like Mike Tyson. Yeah. Take him off the streets in Brooklyn. Trouble kid, got trouble in school and everything, but he can fight. You teach him everything he needs to know. You take him upstate, teach him everything he needs to know to win inside the ring. He's a boxing historian. He can tell you anything about boxing. His problems was outside of the ring.
Yes.
Nobody, you can't take a brother from the hood and then make him a multimillionaire and everybody knows his name and cameras is far. Like, there has to be a change of mind state. You know what I'm saying? Because he's still thinking like that dude from Brooklyn. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But he ain't that kid from Brooklyn no more.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody
you're in a big arena now.
You the heavyweight, undisputed, undefeated heavy. Everyone knows your name. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you have to prepare. We don't prepare our youth for that. Sports, entertainment. We don't prepare them. And then the industry uses them up. And then when they're not useful, they just throw them to the side and get some more young Negroes. That's not the word I was going to use, but you know what I'm saying? So,
It is
you
what
know,
it is.
so, and that's all it is. And we're disposable to the machine. So
I think a lot of it has to do with us, man.
Oh, well, we about to go right now, the end of the show. You could be doing anything else right now, but you tried to decide to ride with us. This is Black Westerns presents the People Before Politics radio show every Sunday, 6 to 8 on InTheMixRadio.com. Till next week, peace.
22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And are not afraid to say it.